Anxiety has gone up by 26% worldwide since the pandemic started, and people everywhere are talking to social media to share their coping hacks. One of the latest trends is called vagus nerve icing, which simply involves laying a cold compress or ice pack on your chest to help ease anxiety. Well, we know the good old vagus nerve, Dr. Sportelli, involved in heart rate, heartbeat. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, listen, this makes sense, Doc. Let's think about it for a second. So the vagus nerve is a really big nerve that runs right down the center of your chest there. And the vagus nerve is a parasympathetic nerve. So you guys remember from that old physiology class, the parasympathetic nerve is all about rest and digest. So it's opposite of that anxious feeling, which is the sympathetic nervous system, right? Which is fight or flight. So if you can activate that vagus nerve, and there's lots of ways to do this, even deep breathing can do it, but a stimulation with a cold pack can actually activate the vagus nerve and help you, quote unquote, rest and digest. It shifts blood flow to your internal organs with digestion. It slows down your heart rate. It helps you feel like you can catch your breath. So there is total science to this. From a psychological perspective, just the act of doing that, the act of putting a cold pack on your chest is going to distract you from those anxious thoughts and feelings. So you have that secondary effect. And then also it might just feel soothing, right? Sometimes when people get anxious, they feel hot and flustered. So putting something cool on your chest in that regard too, that sensation might help work too. So this makes a lot of sense to me.
All right, I'm sure there's a right and a wrong way to do this. So how long should you leave the ice pack on your chest? Obviously not too long. You're gonna,
yeah, of course,
it's gonna make you
careful,
uncomfortable.
Right? Yeah, it can be uncomfortable. Your skin can get irritated. So what we recommend is in this case, we want to wrap an ice pack in something like a towel or a paper towel so it's not super, super cold. And then you're going to place it on your chest, but we don't really want you to do it for more than 15 or 20 minutes or so at a time. And then you could take it off and maybe try it again if you feel a little bit more comfortable, another 15 or 20 minutes later.
All right, another question. What about ice cold showers are best to help with anxiety? And I'm not talking about sexual anxiety in general.
You'll go take a cold shower.
Yeah, go take a cold shower.
Right. Right. Well, this is kind of all the rage now, right? So we see this like with the Wim Hof method, for example, where you go into very, very, very cold water. And there's some physiologic evidence that it does just that. It does activate the vagus nerve in certain ways. It does reduce a cortisol spike. Remember, if your cortisol goes through the roof, your liver makes sugar, so you get a blast of sugar. So it reduces that cortisol spike as well. And it's actually been shown, even though we think that that initial blast of cold is going to raise your heart rate, which it will, it actually does reduce the heart rate a little bit. Still a lot out there. The jury's still out with some of the research and the science behind it, but definitely a popular thing that people are doing.
Yeah, it's a little shock therapy. I mean, people who believe in cryotherapy and the old cold plunge that some spas have, you jump in that near icy cold water and jump out. I mean, you're so cold that you forget that you're anxious. Right. All right. As always, great information, Dr. Sportelli.